So we're measuring how high the C8 sits. And if we look at that, it's a hair over 6, maybe 6 1/4 off the ground. And this is a perfectly flat ground. So we're gonna go out and measure my ZR1 and see how high it sits. And on the ZR1, we are just a hair over 5, maybe 5 1/4. So the C8 sits about an inch higher. It does look like it sits a good bit higher in person, but the tape measure doesn't lie, guys. All right, guys, so here I am again on the interior of the C8 Corvette. This is the 2LT interior, obviously all black with white stitching. We don't get the double stitching on the steering wheel with the 2LT, but it still looks phenomenal. So if you got a 2LT or if you're thinking about it, I would recommend it. It still looks great. Now, of course, the 3LT takes the interior up another notch, but for the most part, this is still fantastic. I mean, the quality in here screams Corvette, and it's just awesome stuff, guys. Obviously, over here, we could have had the carbon fiber piece here instead of the brushed aluminum, which actually kind of matches the Bose brushed aluminum stuff. So this is actually kind of a nice look. I don't know if I'd go carbon fiber with this just because of how well that all matches. But at the end of the day, carbon fiber on the interior or the exterior is always a good thing as far as I'm concerned. And while we're on the topic of carbon fiber, let's mention real quick the Ridge wallet. So as you guys can tell here, this is the carbon fiber offering from Ridge. It comes with the available money clip or a money band here to hold your cash, and it will hold up to 12 cards. That includes your credit cards, debit cards, and your ID. So literally everything I need is right in this wallet. Much easier and much more up to date than your normal traditional bifold wallet. Typically, as guys, we hold a lot of crap in our wallets that we don't really need, and this helps cut it all out, and it looks great in the process. If you're interested, check out the link down below. It will save you 10% on any of the Ridge products, just for being a horsepower obsessed fan. So anyway, like we've talked about before, the button over here, you can press to bring in the mirrors, or press it again to push the mirrors back out. An extremely awesome space-saving option, but that's not where the cool interior features stop. So let's go ahead and actually turn the car on to accessory mode. So we'll press and hold for 10 seconds. And everything comes to life inside the car. So we have our startup animation here, our rear view camera is on, and of course the dash is up. Let's focus on the steering wheel here for a second. So we have right here, obviously, is our cruise control. We can increase the speed, decrease the speed, turn it on and off right there. Right here's our Z button, which is going to be a user customizable button that will allow you to select how you want all of this stuff laid out by the push of a button. Over on the right, we have a heated steering wheel, which is the first for a Corvette. We have our hands-free mode for cell phone, hang up button for the cell phone. Then down here, we have the ability to skip songs, skip favorites, and the volume controls on this side. The steering wheel is definitely very well laid out. Like I said before, not a huge fan of the shape of the wheel, but I get it. It is functional. You can clearly see through it and get to the important display behind it. And over on the right, we have, of course, the in-dash entertainment system here. And we have gone over this in fairly great detail in a previous video, so I don't want to necessarily beat that to death again. I will link that right up here, though. If you're interested in it, feel free to check it out. The only thing I will show you here that I wasn't able to show you really well in the previous video is if we go down here and press the front camera button, there it is. It's literally going to show you exactly what's in front of you in a high definition. Now, I always like this option on the C7 Corvette, but I'll be honest, it is nowhere near that clear. This I can definitely easily see if I'm about to hit something. I can clearly see the road, the pavement there that's in front of me. Now, if you come down to the bottom, we have a couple different options along the bottom here. As you can see, this one right now is highlighted with the yellow line above it. That is giving you the top option, which shows you what's in front of you, and then the bottom one, which shows both the left and right cameras with your approach and how close you are to things lines. So we can turn those on or off. I prefer those off usually for this particular camera. Or we can hit the magnify button, which is just going to open it up wider to what's actually in front of your car. Now, if we go back here, this is going to show us what's behind us. That's our backup camera. And then the one over on the left makes it a little bit of a tighter image versus this one being more of a fish lens style to get more visibility. And down here where that camera option is at is typically where your front end lift would be if you have it. Now, whenever we have the front camera option up like that, we can actually come up here and hit the home button. That'll take you right back to the home page here where you can then select whatever it is you may want to select from here. Now, like I said, I covered this pretty extensively in a different video. If you're interested in knowing more about this, I will link that video in the description down below, as well as up to the top right of this one. But anyway, moving on the interior, these vents are very thin, very slim, and very interesting design. So this actually moves the vent all around, and we got obviously a vent there, a vent there, a vent over there, and one vent right here, as well as what's down on the floor on your feet and everything. But very almost invisible design, and it keeps it very supercar-like in here, and that's pretty cool. But anyway, moving on to everybody's most hated option here, and that is the center stack of buttons. And I mentioned this in a previous video. This is not as aggressive as it comes through in pictures and even some videos. It's not that bad. It's actually, it fits the interior pretty well because of the way it swoops down around the in-dash navigation and everything. But these options down at the bottom here, these are for the passenger. So they're towards the bottom of the slope, so the passenger can clearly and easily reach them. Whereas the top options here, these are for the driver, because these ones are a little more out of range for the passenger. Now, with that said, when I was driving earlier with Coral in the passenger side seat, she stated she could still clearly see the navigation screen and everything. So it's not really that cut off from the passenger the way that some people have speculated in the beginning. The car has a really cool gear selector here. Like I said, it's not the typical grab thing down in the drive. We literally just put our finger under here and pull up for drive, put our finger under here and pull up for reverse, push for neutral, push for manual, and push for park. So that's really all that's necessary in this situation, and it makes it really nice, really clean, very Corvette. Now you'll notice right beside it, the mode selector, which is hidden by this nice piece of leather wrapped interior, and it gives us the mode selector name up here with our C8 Corvette flag. You just grab right here and we can rotate back and forth to change to different drive modes, which, like I said, on this car changes a lot of things. And that is the display, the brake pedal, the accelerator pedal, the steering stiffness, and the stiffness of the overall car ride. With the C7, it did not control anything to do with the brake sensitivity, or how hard you have to press that brake pedal to get the car to stop, how it feels on the track and everything. The C8 introduced that as a new piece of technology. Now, like I've touched on before, the cup holders in this car are improved. They're still not fantastic, but they are much deeper than they were on the C7, so it should hold your cups and, you know, whatever you might put in here a little better than before. This whole panel is larger than it was on the C7, so gives you more room to put your drinks and everything in there. And I mentioned in a previous video about the quality of the center console lid. The pre-production car that I reviewed at my local dealership had a quality issue here, and it was that the thing felt cheap, and also when you opened it, it squeaked. But as you can see here, that problem has been resolved for the cars made for the end users. So the pre-production models had some issues, but everything that I've noted in the car from the dealership that I reviewed months ago has been fixed for these cars. I want to touch on the heads-up display. This is sometimes difficult to see on camera, but if you note right now, I am in sport mode, and as you can see, you get that very large round tack with the P in the middle indicating we're in park, and the G-force on both sides, as well as your digital speed readout. Now, if I change to tour mode, that changes as well. So the display changes, and up there we get just the digital speed readout, the P for park, and over on the left you can see that's actually a speed sign. So it would tell you if you're in like a 40-mile-an-hour zone or whatever it might be. Very limited information in tour mode though. Now if we bump it up to track, obviously it changes everything on the display in here, as well as gives you the P for park, your miles per hour, and those things up at the top are actually shift lights. So those will light up and blink at you whenever you're getting close to red line to let you know when you should shift. So pretty cool stuff there, guys. The only other topic to really touch on the interior is just how long this dash is. If I'm leaning all the way forward, I'm still probably 6 to 8 inches away from touching the bottom part of that glass up there. The dashboard is very long and the front windshield is very sloped, so getting down in there to clean and stuff might be kind of tough. I'm very impressed with the interior overall, guys. I'm going to give this a big thumbs up. I can only imagine what the 3LT is going to bump this up to as far as quality goes. The electronics, the performance, the feel of this interior is just phenomenal. But one last thing, and then we're done with this video, I promise. We are going to test out the Bose audio system. I've had a couple requests for this, and there's not an easy way for me to do this, but I'm going to turn on the radio and I'm going to have to mute what I'm actually listening to because YouTube will flag me for copyright. I want you to kind of hear the way that this thing sounds. All right, so that's it there. I'm gonna just play around with the sound settings here for a second. We're gonna up the bass a little bit. Wow, yeah, that sounds fantastic, guys. So like I said, I don't want to keep this going too long because YouTube will flag me for copyright, but this sounds amazing. The bass coming out of this door is fantastic. So if you guys have the option of the 10-speaker Bose audio system, I would definitely do it. It sounds really good. It gets very loud, and there's not really a good way for me to show you on camera. Even if I could turn it up, it's only going to sound as good as my camera will allow it to sound. If I'm giving you my opinion, it sounds great. It sounds even better than the C8 Corvette, and of course that was a 9-speaker Bose system in there. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I want to give a huge thank you to Klick Lewis once again. So Klick Lewis Chevrolet in Palmyra, Pennsylvania, they made this possible along with the owner of this car, who chose to remain anonymous. If you guys need any kind of C8 Corvette ordering or C8 Corvette help, definitely check out Klick Lewis in Palmyra. Ask for Mike Matarazzo. Tell him Horsepower Obsessed sent you. But if you liked what you saw here, guys, give me a big thumbs up. If you have any questions about the content, leave them in the comment section down below or send me an email, horse.power.obsessed@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to answer anything you may have for me. If you guys have not subscribed yet, please do. I have loads of C8 content coming very soon you're not going to want to miss. And as always, guys, I'll catch you in the next upload.